Hi, good day, folks. This is Mohammed Shamal, and I'm here to present the Enterprise Mobile Apps Development Workshop with absolutely no code whatsoever. I'm actually joined in this demo by my colleague, Kevin, who is going to demonstrate on how simple and effective it can get to develop a powerful enterprise mobile app with absolutely no code whatsoever, and at the same time, use this build for both the Android as well as the iPhone. So without much further ado, let's get started. The contents of this particular demo workshop would be an intended audience, preferably those who would be, with some sort of an ERP background to understand how the app finally connects to the backend. But having said that, if you do not have ERP experience, but do have some development experience, you would be actually in a much better situation because you would understand the logic and how to build those logics when you actually develop the app. So let's view a few of the sample solutions that you could actually build over the eMOBIQ platform, the no-code platform. And let's also understand the eMOBIQ platform itself, like a quick introduction on an eMOBIQ development environment, its attributes, its features, its functionalities, and other things that's to be concerned with from a developer's point of view. And then we'll finally start, Kevin will be actually building the app from scratch, where he's going to create a sales ordering app, a salesman's ordering app. And then he'll get you to test it. You can actually do it with just scanning the QR code on the preview screen, just to see how effective it gets on the mobile device, even before you actually compile it and build it and push it out to the stores. So let's get started. A few things before the workshop actually commences. Well, there's the workshop is on the Zoom window. So if there's any questions whatsoever, please help us to understand your questions, your clarifications through a chat box. And well, if there is a need, we would call you out and answer your questions straight away, or during the point where we can answer those questions. If you are disconnected at some point, you can join us with the link given in the email that I had sent you, and a copy of these slides will be finally sent out to your email addresses. So let's get cracking. Okay. When I'm talking about mobile apps, some of the solutions that, the very powerful enterprise business solutions that can be built on these on this particular platform, like the self-ordering app, which allows a customer to order anytime, anywhere, and actually make like collect his payments, deliver the items. So, and at the same time integrate seamlessly to a backend. As long as the backend supports web services, the mobile app can actually consume all those web services and integrate easily. So that's as far as the sales ordering app is concerned. And then if you're going to a warehouse management app, you have the options, like you can build a simple warehouse option, warehouse management option, where you can actually do goods receipts, shipment, consignment, transfer inventory, check your stocks, transfer stocks, and all this can be done real time as well as in offline mode. Then as far as the delivery app is concerned, you can actually create a delivery app which can actually give you an outlet overview. It can adjust your stock adjustment, print receipts, scan the item QR code, and the likes. So basically, these are some of the apps, like just to wind up the last one, in this list, the delivery app, which can actually allow you to create, customize your routes. It can allow you to map your customers to the routes, allow you to take orders, pick up, delivery, and the likes. So basically, this is what you can do with a platform which is highly rated by Gartner, eMOBIQ, which is our own IP, and which allows you to use absolutely no coding whatsoever and integrate it seamlessly across different backends. So what's this all about? This is like many other apps, platforms and development platforms. It allows a very seamless graphic user interface, drag and drop option. You have ready-made templates. You have the option, like as I said, you can build ones and deploy to both iOS and Android, which means it totally doesn't require a specialist in iOS or Android to develop your apps. So anybody with some development experience is able to pick up the pieces, understand the backend, and you're up against a winning app. And more importantly, the platform allows you to use native device functionalities. So like the GPS camera, integration to the backend is absolutely seamless, as I said. And the final thing, which generally, like people are more worried about, is the subscription. It's on the cloud, so it's a subscription-based model, and it's a pretty cost-effective model as well. So let me get my colleague Kevin to get started on the demo. So I would advise people who are observing this particular webinar, workshop, whatever you call it, to actually, if in case you do not have an ID and a password to access our free trial to try this out, please do so. I have my email address at the very end of this webinar. So if you do have, then you can actually try whatever Kevin is demonstrating. You can replay this video many times for your benefit. So Kevin, it's all yours. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, so thanks, Shamal. So I'll be taking over now. Okay, some notes before we start. So now that we're going to use the eMOBIQ development platform itself, you need to take note that before you do something, you must keep saving, because as our setting, it's not autosave. So make sure you save it every time you do some changes, or else when you refresh the page, it will be gone. So second is, most of the time when people try to run the app, it's blank page. Why? Because they haven't set the default starting page. So please do be aware that you need to set the default page. Then another note is, some actions button in the screen might show differently in different screen, because we make it responsive so that if it's a smaller screen, it will cater for a smaller screen and able to do all the actions. So if it's a bigger one, everything can be seen, which is easier to use. So another thing to take note is our platform is free drag and drop. So when you do drag and drop freely, it's catered for the design itself, meaning whatever screen size you chose, whatever you see, that's what it is catered for. If you want to make it responsive, you need to enhance the property setting, wherein it will take more training and understanding, which if you're interested in, maybe you can do the full training with us and you'll know how to do it. Another thing to take note is the internet. So again, it's cloud-based. Why? Because the raw mapping was done, or I guess the flow is wrong. So again, it doesn't mean the app is not working. It just need a proper mapping and or how eMOBIQ is used. Okay. So now we're gonna start running through the whole development environment. We'll be seeing bits and pieces of it. Okay, so now before we start, I want to explain the overview, meaning what are the screens what are the capability and what are the things that you see in the screen itself. So as here you can see, we have page design, service screen, global attribute, staging, language, event flow, and help. So what are all these things? So I'll be explaining it inside the platform itself. So let's switch to the platform itself. Okay, so when you go to eMOBIQ, this is the design page itself. This is where you do all the design of the app and even the flow and everything else. Okay, so first, if we check the slide, it's talking about page design screen. So this itself, what you see here is the page design screen. Second, services screen is all the connectors that we have to different backend, such as different ERPs or any external system that have web service. So let's just open that page. So here you can see the different predefined connectors. And again, we're also supporting any generic connectors. Okay. So next is global attribute screen. So let me just quickly open global attribute screen. So here we can see all the default setting wherein we set the default page, whether you want it to be auto update. So our platform itself have its own auto update, so you don't need to worry. If there's an update, you can just release and all the user would receive the notification and so on. So here are all the global properties. Okay, next is staging database. So let's just open. So here is like in the cloud storage. This is stored in our eMOBIQ cloud server, which you can do when you want to do basic scenario and just to showcase. But again, this is not a suggested way to store the data itself. Next is the language. So our platform itself have a capability to change language, but you just need to do the mapping yourself. And event flow, which is where we do all the flow that we need. So later I'll be showing you how to use this, but basically you'll see a workflow here that would help you to see what an action does. Okay. And finally, the help, wherein if you need more information, you can just go to this help icon and just search here. Okay, those are the main things and screen that you need to take note. And I know it's like quite just a basic idea and you still need to know how to use them. And that's where we'll be doing what we'll be doing next. Okay, so first thing we need to do is understand how to use eMOBIQ as a basic thing, meaning all those page, templating, components, and how to do testing in emulator first. And then even the properties of a component when you want to change color and even using wizard. And finally, the event flow, where you do all the flow yourself. Okay, so how about we start doing the page? Okay, so first thing we go to page design. Okay, so from here, as you can see, from in the left-hand side are all the components. So what we'll be doing is first, we need to create a page so we can drag these components in. So here's the page. You'll see it in the upper right hand. You see this side. This is where all your available pages in your app would be listed. So let's just create a new one. Let's just call it first page. Okay. So in this case, you just follow me so that it's easier for you to understand. Okay, and then I'll be doing it a bit slow so that you can see. And now I'm creating. Okay, done. So here you'll see it's created. As I mentioned, we need to save. But before we save, we need to select the page first. You see here, it's light blue, meaning it's not yet selected. So you need to click on it. Then you'll see the properties appearing, meaning you're selecting the page itself. So here now we can do save. Okay, now we are able to create page. So if you want to create more page, just keep adding new pages. Okay, next is template. So for you to see the basic dragging, right? So we can drag this. Maybe let's do that first. So how about we just try to drag label there. So you can move it anywhere in the screen. As I mentioned, it's free drag and drop, but it's designed cateredly for the screen. And how do you know what is the size screen? You can click the action. Then here you can see the different available screen size, or you can specify what type of screen do you want. Okay, so just to show you what's happening, so if I put it in the middle, it will try to be responsive, but it's not as responsive as it is when there's many components inside, which again, as I mentioned, you need to go to for a full day training to understand it. But here, just to show you, so here I can just change the size screen and see it will try to align, but you see it's not totally in the middle. Right, so let's return to the smaller screen. And here you can see we can easily just change. So we can just double click. There you can change the value. So new value. And just enter. And by default, it will already change. So here you can already sense the idea of how it is created drag and drop and how easy to change the value in. Okay, so I'll be deleting this. Okay, I hope you're able to follow there. Next, we'll go to the template. So again, we're just touching the basic things in eMOBIQ. So next, how about we just drag menu screen. So we just drag it here in our first page, and you'll see it's just gonna use the template that you see, which would lessen your time in designing, because if you do it by yourself, you need to, like drag all the components that you need. And here on the right-hand side, you can see all the different components, right? Which you don't need to design again. And usually our templates are responsive. So let's say I change the screen just to show you. So it will auto adjust based on the screen. So let's say we want to make it horizontal. So again, it will auto adjust as well. All right, change again to smaller one. You see, it's catering for different screen sizes. So it's responsive. Okay, so here now we have this. So that's how we drag the template in. So it's quite straightforward. You can just look here, what are the available templates that we have. And yep, so that is template. So now let's go to the next part. So here, components, I already explained earlier, which is, these are the components. Actually, as you can see, I can double click on this one and it will highlight, and this is an image component, which means it's the image and here. Okay, this one. So again, if you want to change, you can easily double click on the image itself and just choose an icon. So by default, these are your own icon storage, which is private, but we also have public where everyone can see and reuse. So you don't need to upload your own icons. Okay, so here we can go to the icon templates. Then you can see some templates available, icon available. And let's say, just click this menu white just to show you how we change. And select. So here, you can easily just change like that. Okay. So again, whenever you do changes, you just need to make sure you save. So that's the component part. And then let's try running it in an emulator. So as you can see, this one is in a way emulator, but it won't trigger any function. Later, you'll see. So, but then now how to test it in emulator? We just need to click actually display. But remember, as I mentioned earlier, but to show you so that you understand, when I try to play, so nothing happens, right? I want to explain here, that's the purpose of why we need to set the default page. Because if you don't set, then the app won't know which page to start. So where do we set the page? We just go to the global attributes and just select the application default page. And select the first page that we created and then save. Go back to page design. And here, when you do play, then you'll see the design that you did in the screen itself. So that's our emulator. Next is the properties. So if we go first page, let's say I click this menu. So it's this label. So here in the lower right-hand side, you'll see the properties, the different properties that you can do for this component. So what are properties? Properties is basically just to design the label itself. So let's say you can see here, text, you can change the color, the size, font type, and even decoration stuff. So how about we try changing the color? So I can just click on this color. Let's just change it to orange and choose. So here you can see it's just changing as if. Let's say we change the font family to fantasy, so it will also change, right? And so on. So here size, it will actually suggest default value for you. So you can just click on those and you can manually change as well, right? So another thing to take note in the properties is if let's say you don't understand, okay, what is this color? You can actually just click on this properties and it will explain to you what does it mean and what does it do, okay? So that you know what to do. All right, so again, we don't forget to save. And then when we quickly try to the emulator, there you go. So you can try it from your side and you should see the same thing. Every time you change, you save. And you can preview, okay? So that's emulator itself. Component properties. So we have gone through mostly. Next is wizard. So what is wizard? Wizard is done to generate pre-prepared flow for you so that you don't need to do it manually. Okay, let's say when we click this, we want to set the this menu label to another text. Let's do a simple one. So where do we find the wizard? You can just click here. Then you can see here page wizard and function wizard. So as the name implies, page is creating new page. Function is just attaching the flow in the component itself. So we just want when they tap, it will change the value, right? So we just click function. Okay. So when we do, we can see what are the available events on the component, different component, different events. So we just click. Okay, so here you can see some default functions that you can just choose from and it will generate the flow for you. So we just want to do a basic one. So let's just go to basic function. And here we can see a set component value, right? So it's a series of questions. If you notice, that's what wizard is. So I set component value because I want to set the text, right? So next. So here you can see a different, all the properties in the page that you selected. So you remember that's label menu 1. So I can select this label menu 1. So here you can see behind the this property, this component listing, you'll see the label menu 1. Okay, so I just select. Here you can select whether it's coming from some component or from a stored value, but let's just do a simple one. User defined, meaning you just type. But like I changed this value. So it's just as is. So next. And then here you can notice you can chain multiple flow. Here, that's all I need to do. So I can just click finish. Okay, again, don't forget to save. So I can save. And how do we test? We click play and let's click. So there, you see, I changed this value. So you can try from your side and see that how it works. Again, you can play around with it. You can try other wizard capability as well. Okay, so that's basically what wizard is. Okay, so next is finally the event flow. So then what if we need to create our own flow? We don't want to base on the wizard because wizard is quite not really that flexible, but it lessens the problem of creating your own flow, right? Next is, so you want to change manually. So how do we do that? We have a so-called event flow wherein you can modify. So earlier we created the wizard. So actually there's already a flow in this image component. So we can just go there and see. So how to go? You'll see this event flow in this side. So you can just click on this. And then you'll see all the component and the page that you're selecting, or you selected earlier. And you see there's a highlight. So it means it's highlighting on that component. At the same time, you'll notice there are black color fonts and blue color. So what's the difference? Black means there's no action in that component, while blue says or informs you that there is an action within that component. Okay, so we can just see here, like what event is that? So remember we selected click earlier, so I can just select click as is and then okay. So there you go. So here you'll see what it does. It's just setting the component value, because again, we're just creating a basic thing, but at least from there, you know what the wizard is doing. So if I click on this one, I can see, you can actually select the component that you want to change and the value. So if you think about it, using event flow is quite straightforward as well. Okay, but then how about let's try adding our own flow without the wizard, right? Now that you understand where to do that, now let's do it. So again, you can select the component from this side, but currently, as of now, you see most are components, so actually you don't know what is this. So what you can do is, if you know, then you can just directly click, but if not, you can just go to page design and just select the component itself. So let's say when I click this, I want info dialog, right? Let's do that. So we just select this event flow again. Don't forget to select, and then when I click, and then click OK. Okay, so one more thing to take note is you'll see the combo box here. So you can actually switch as well. You don't need to keep going back and forth. You can switch directly here, which page, which event as well. So here, again, as I mentioned, what we want to do is to pop up a dialog. So you can just try typing here, dialog. So you can see some event here. Or you can click on this dot and right click, and then you'll also see the same thing. And you can also search as well. Okay, so there are two ways to do it. So I'm just showing you both. So which one is convenient for you, then just go ahead with that. Okay. So here I want to use this side. So let's just drag this info dialog. So here you can drag, but you need to make sure when you drag, you point to that this block dot here to inform that the info dialog to be added in this part. So just drag. So there you go. You'll see the info dialog is there. And then how do you put the data inside? Let's say what title, what content, you'll see from the lower right-hand side. So let's just say, hello, this is my first dialog. Right? Here you can disable timer, meaning like it won't off itself, right? So I can just put false because I want it to be a static dialog itself. So I can save. Then how to test? Again, you can see the preview here. So just click preview. Then again, we added it here, try clicking. Then you see, this is my first dialog. Okay. Okay. So next is, okay. You notice why it disappeared? Because we set disable timer false, meaning there's a timer there. Okay, if we change to true, and save it, and preview, and click menu, so you'll see this is my first dialog, but it doesn't turn off, and there's a button there. So I can just click OK. Right? So that's how you do the event flow, or how you create your own flow. Right? So let's just add one more just to see how to chain it. So let's say when they select OK, I want to do something, right? Okay. So maybe let's just, when they click OK, just pop up another info dialog to simplify things. So I'll just drag again inside, below. So here you'll notice it's going to ask you, where do you want to put this function info dialog? In the same level or yes? When you say yes, right, when they click OK, it will go there. But same level means it's going to happen at the same time. So I want it to be inside, so I click yes. And you'll notice the flow says here, when they click OK, then it will go here. So let's just put second info. Awesome. And again, this let's enable the timer. By default, it's false. Let's just put maybe 2 seconds. So this is by milliseconds. So you can just save, and again, preview. Then let's click. If I click OK, it appears, then 1, 2, then it's gone. So that's how you chain, or how you create your own flow, actually. Okay, so I hope everyone was able to follow up to this point. If any concern, do just drop the message and someone would reach out to you, or as we are recording this as well, so you can look at it again later. Okay, so those are the basic things that you need to know so that you can create the application. Again, there are more complex scenarios, more functionality, which we might cover in this. But again, as you know, this is only a 2 hours workshop, so we won't cover everything. So if you are interested, you can just join, contact our people, and we'll have a full training for you. And okay, so I'll go ahead with this. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a real app for you guys so that you can see. This workshop is like designated mostly for Dynamics 365. So we'll be connecting to Dynamics 365. And again, we can connect to different things, but for this workshop, we'll be focusing on that. So we'll be showcasing you first the app so you can imagine how it would look like, and then we will create it ourselves, you yourself as well, using your own account, and you can try it out, right? So again, if you're lost, you can just message us, or you can just review this later once we send out the video recording. So let's get to it. So showcase first so that you can foresee how it looks like. I open. So this is an Android device, and I'll be opening the sample application. All right, so what will be the app consists of is basically you can do customer. Let's do it first. Let's go in. So this one is getting the data from the salesman in Dynamics 365. So there's a AEH, which we map it to the code of the salesperson. So I put an invalid password. So I put 123 first. And if I check in, invalid username and password. Okay. But then now I want to put a real one, AH as well. And I log in, then I can go in. So meaning the salesperson is able to go in. So roughly this is what we'll be doing later after I show you everything. So again, please do try to visualize so that when we're doing the app, it's easier for you to understand, oh, why are we doing this? What is the end result, and so on. So we're actually already showing the end result, right? So first thing the salesman can do is the customer listing. So they can just tap on the customer list and they'll see all the customer lists here, right? And let's say I want to create a new customer. You can just press on the new, and just to simplify things, we're just adding a customer name and using the default of whatever any Dynamics 365 is giving. So let's just try eMOBIQ customer. Okay, so I just submit. So it says data submitted, right? And then actually we should be able to see the record here as well. Okay, there you go. You can see the eMOBIQ customer in this, the 170. Okay, we didn't do a search list here, but you can do a search as well. But again, in this workshop, we won't be doing that. So I click back. So that's one thing they can do, search a customer and add new customer. Next is they can see the order listing that the backend have, or the Dynamics 365 BC have. So I click the order list. And here they can see all the order. And let's say I want to see what's inside, right? You can just tap on it. And it will show you what the basic details are and the items ordered as well, right? So I can click back, then it's just gonna return to the order listing, and click back to return to the main menu. One thing to mention, all these are online, but we do cater for offline. So again, if you want to know more, you can just join for the training. Full-fledged training. So another thing the salesman can do is see where he is currently. So he can tap on the location. And first time when they open this app and they install this first time as well, it will ask for access. So the person should allow so that it will work, right? So I allow. There you go. So you can see this is our current office location, which is in Singapore. All right. So you can basically see around. Basically, it's just a Google map, right? Okay, so that's one thing. Another function that they can do is change the language. So here we can select the setting, and they can just see all the available language. Again, later you'll know how to do this, but just imagine it first. So I just created the simple, let's say language A, which I map back to another language. So you'll see the back text when I change the language A and I say change language. Then you see it becomes A, right? If I change to B, then change language become B. If I want to return to English, just change language, then there you go. It's back to the normal language. Okay, and finally, what additional thing they can do is placing an order. So depending on our time, if we have enough time, we'll be doing that. Depending on how fast you can follow as well. So, but let me show you that item list. I open item list. So here you can see all the items and you can place the order. Just select one bicycle, click OK. Maybe one touring bicycle. I go cart, then I see the number and quantity. Basically, these are the number in the backend, right? You can put the description, but in this case, we just do a basic one again. And here the salesperson can select which customer is placing the order, right? So let's say they want to look for, you can enhance this, but here it's just a listing of everything, right? So here I select the eMOBIQ customer, since this is the what I created just now, and then I click OK. Okay, because by default, in the backend, you need to set up posting, right? So at least you show it, will tell you, right, this is something wrong. So let's just use a existing one. And I click OK. There you go. It's there. So if you search it from the order list, you should be able to find it. Okay. So basically, that's the app that we'll be doing today for this workshop. Okay, so let's close the app and let's get back on the slides. So, okay, again, everyone, hopefully you are able to follow. So we'll be going through the next slide, which is building the app that we just have shown you. So I click next. Okay, but before we start, I want you to again understand how the flow of the app is. So one thing to take note, when you're creating your own app, right, you first need to think, what is the app functionality, or what does the app do, so that you're able to quickly implement it or do it in eMOBIQ. Because if not, right, you'll be lost like, what do I need to do now? Or like, what functionality I need to add, what flow, and so on. So first thing to take note, always think about the flow of the app. Doesn't mean it should be so sophisticated, but then at least the basics should be there, right? And you can enhance, but at least the basic understanding of what the app does should be there. Okay, so as again, I hope you still remember what I just have shown you earlier. So remember, we have the home page, we have the login page, wherein the salesman can log in. Home page is where the menu are, so they can navigate to and from. Customer listing page is just the listing of the customer. Then we are allowing the salesman to create new customer. So there you can see the customer as well, customer, new page. Next is the listing. And then the order detailed page means when they select from the listing of the orders, and location page and setting page wherein the language is, right? So these are the main thing that we'll be doing together. And again, if you have any question, please do raise it up. Okay, we'll be in this scenario, we'll be using this instance of our dynamic BC. These are the credentials you'll be using as well. If you have your own dynamic BC web service published, please feel free to use that. Or maybe for now you just follow this, then you can try it out later during like reviewing the recording or like trying it out yourself. But in this workshop, I do suggest you follow this so that we're all in the same pattern and there's no like, oh, why this is not working and so on, right? So do take note of this. I'll be showing you this later when we're doing it in the eMOBIQ itself. Okay, so now we'll be doing the home page first. So for the home page, we'll be using the template, which I have shown you how to use earlier. And if you see, this is the end result that we'll be doing. You see from the right screen of the slides, this should be the end result. Okay, so now let's go to eMOBIQ and go to page design. Leave the current page as is. We won't be linking this first page in any of the menu, but we'll leave it there so that you can look at it later when you want to review something like those basic flow and so on. So now let's just, again, new page. So just type home and home. Okay, if you notice why did I put PG here, it's just a practice for me so that it's easier to remember that it's page. But it's not necessary. You can actually just type home if you want. But again, in this workshop, follow me so that it will work well. Then later you can try it out on your own free time. Right? Okay, this is basic, right? So everyone can follow. I just create. There you go. So you notice it's created, but I'm still in the first page. So I can click on the home. And then again, don't forget to save. So as I mentioned, we're gonna drag it from the template. So we just click the template, look for the menu, and just drag this menu. There you go. And then save. So as of now, we don't do anything because we haven't done all those functions yet, and there's no way for us to link which page to go to which page, right? So we'll be doing all those linking along the way. All right, so that's homepage. That's it. Oh, if you want to change the icon, please feel free later after this one or after our workshop. Okay, next is the login page. So here we'll be using a template. Then upon clicking the login button, it should validate from dynamic PC on the salesperson table or listing based on the code. And if it's existing, then it will go in and then go to the home page, right? If not, then it should validate like, oh, this user is not existing. Okay, and for this case, we'll be using wizard again. Okay. So let's go back to eMOBIQ and let's just create new. So let's just create login page. Okay, click create. To let me know if I'm moving fast so that I know whether to slow it down. Or if you think it's quite straightforward, then I'll just continue as is, okay? So again, go to login. Okay, so again, in the home, right, don't forget to always click save because some people forget to save, right? Then the changes, when they refresh, it's gone. So let's say you're not sure whether which page you have saved, right? By default, it's only saving one page. If you want to save all, just click this drop down, then you can save the whole project, right? Okay, so why do we do that? Is because sometimes people maybe don't want to save the second page that they did. So we do it page by page, but again, we give you the option to save the whole project. Okay, anyways, let's go to login. Again, in the template, look for the login and just drag it. Okay, so let's do some, so it's already there. Let's do some cosmetic changes. So you can double click on the title, just put it salesman application, right? And you can put below maybe first app. And then footer, maybe you can just say version 1. Right? So these are just cosmetic, right? Again, if you want to, let's say, move it around, you can move. You can resize, or you can even move it somewhere else, you know, like those things. Right? I'm just showing you that you can play with it. Okay, so I just save, and that's it. So again, as I mentioned, we already show you slides so you can follow. So what we did is we just drag a template and did a bit of cosmetic. Now let's create the function to validate the salesperson in. So I just click on the login button, make sure the button login is selected, okay? Always take note of that because if, let's say you're selecting on a different component and you add the function there, meaning it's gonna only trigger on that component itself. But just take note of that because maybe later when you try to click login, hey, nothing's happening. Maybe because you put it inside this label, right? So you need to tap on this before it works, right? So again, click on login, make sure there's a border there. If you're not sure if it's there, you can validate on the right hand corner wherein you see a highlighted one, which is button login. So again, you can rename it as well if you're confused on what is this. So it's also a good practice to name it so that it's easier for you to notice what is this button for, right? Because if you do drag by default, it's gonna give you like the name itself and a random number. So sometimes you won't know what it is, right? Okay, so now let's do the login connections. So let's do that, save. So before I do that, I just want to show you something. I go services, so you'll see by default, there's no connection yet. So you can do manual one, but because we're using Wizard, it will auto-generate for you, okay? So since the connector is not there, by default, it's not yet there. So you need to set up one time, which later you'll see what I mean by that. So again, make sure the login is selected, and now let's do it. So click actions, and then click function wizard. Oh, one more thing. Remember earlier I mentioned about like if you cannot find the action button, it's because your screen maybe resolution is bigger. Let me just show you what I mean by that. So if it's bigger, then you'll see the action button in this manner. So what are the event hours? Wizard is this one. This is the page. And this is the function. Okay, let me just return to my normal screen. So again, here we select action and click function wizard. Okay, click. So we want to do login. Select NAV. Not yet, right? As I mentioned, we need to set up one time. So here you can just put NAV. Okay, so what are these? These are the web service base URL plus the credentials that's going to be accessing the NAV site. So we go slide. Let me just quickly go through the credentials so you can just see. So here you can see, please do fill this up in your copy. Okay, so let me just close this one and let me copy myself. So here you can just put the URL, just copy the MSC, and see 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me return to the slide that sees. There you go. Please do fill this up. Okay. So after that, you just click next, whether it will work or not. If it's wrong credential, then obviously it will throw an error. Okay, let me just open quickly here so that everyone can type. Let me give you like few, I guess a minute to do it. Okay. Okay, I think should be okay, right? If you were not able to copy, please do inform us through the chat and someone will respond to you. Okay, I'll jump to the slide back to the login page. And now let's go here and click next. If it's successful, then it will get you the company available. So I just use the Chronos. Okay, next. Okay, so here you'll see all the published web service, right? It's done inside the Dynamics PC. But now let's think about it. What do we want to do? Map it in the salesperson code. So look for the salesperson. There you go. So you'll see this. You can just select and just click next. Here we need to map like what to validate with what. So in this scenario, we didn't do any password customization. So let's just use code assist for the password as well. So we just map which username and the text password. What is this text username? These are all the components inside, which you have dragged the template, right? That's why it have a predefined username and password for you. Well, these are all the available field of the salesperson page that is published. Click next. So where do I want to go? Home, right? Then click next. Then finish. Click save. So back to the PowerPoint. Why did we choose home? Because if successful, it will go to the home page. Okay, just to make sure it's working, again, we can try it out. But first thing you need to take note is what to do to set the default page, right? So again, make sure you save. Just go to the global attributes. You select the plugin. Save. Then go to page design. And then play. There you go. This is the one you did. So again, you try, type capital AH, and capital AH, it should go in. If you try to enter wrong, it should inform you like just what we have seen earlier that is wrong. So I just click login, then there you go. I can go in already. But after this, nothing, because we haven't added them yet. Okay, so hopefully everyone is able to follow up to this point. Again, I just want to mention again, if you have any issue, please do let us know. All right, let's move on. So now we do the customer listing page, wherein the salesman can see all the customer in the BC 365. Okay, so we will list down all the customer using wizard. Then we will add the navigation between from the home and back to home as well. And we also create a new button to create new customer. Okay, so first thing what we need to do is, again, if you look at slides, list down all the customer listing wizard. So how do we do that? We just go on the actions and select the page function wizard. You'll see this. Look for date. What do we want to do? To list the data of the customer. So we select data listing. Click next. And then look for an area. Click next. So here was I mentioning. If you click yes, right? Now that we have already connection earlier, if you yes, then it will already show you there. So you don't need to refill up again. So next. So we just want to list what? The customer list. All right, so click next. Here you can do filter if you want, but in this case we just click no. Here you can select the fields that would be appearing in the screen. So just select a name, number, and name. That's simple. Then here, what is the label that will appear? So just same thing, number and name. Then click next. Here you can see some templates that you can choose on. Let's just select this basic one. Next. What to call this? Customer list. Click finish. And there you go. We already map it and it's already there. If we return what's next, we already have the listing. Now we need to map the navigation. So first thing we need to do is go to the home page and let's change the label to customer list, right? And then do the navigation. So again, click on this so that it will, whenever they press either on the image or on the label, it will work. Then again, action function wizard. So when they tap, it should go to the next page. So just click. Then basic function. You'll see a go to page. And then you can select the page. So we want to go to customer list. That's all. Finish. So we already navigated from home to customer listing. Now, vice versa. Go customer list. You click on the back label. Then do the same thing. Okay, so which page again? Home, right? So finish. So again, don't forget to save. So now we did the navigation back and forth. But next, it says button to create new customer. So let's just rename this next to new. Okay, then save. So now we cannot navigate because we haven't created the new customer page, right? So we do that first. Let's jump to the next task. So now we need to create customer new page, right? So in the same way, these are the steps that we need to do. So let's just go through it. Again, we generate the page using wizard instead of template. Then we submit back the data. Then we navigate back from the customer listing to this page and vice versa. Okay, so do first the generate the page. So click action and then use the page function wizard. You see the generate page here. Just select next. And let's look for this form. and just select this with the submit button and then click next. Just call it customer name. Finish. So here you'll see this form. So we just do a basic cosmetic. So we don't need a combo box here. We can just delete. So select on the label, then we can delete by clicking this X icon here. Say yes, delete. There, and it's gone. So again, more cosmetic, just rename to customer new. And this label, double click, just say customer name. Okay, and maybe we can just rename this text so that it's easier for us to find. Text customer name. And that's it. Cosmetic wise, that's it already. Let's go back. So what we need to do is submit, right? Before we do the navigation. So where we do submit is upon clicking this button. So click on the submit button. Click. So how do we do it? Using the wizard. And when successful, it should go to customer listing. So click action and function wizard. Then when I click, you just do process. Yeah, single record. No need to include the input box, right? Click no. Again, where do you want to submit? NAV or Dynamics PC. I click next. So here you need to select page. And then which one? Look for OK365 customer card. Because that's where we enter the customer data. Next. So we want to create next. So here we want to take the value from where? From component. So you can select component value. Just click plus. Then you can map to number. Name and the component itself. Next, we map again the search name. Then this one as well. So why do we put name and search name? Because that's what NAV requires. So in a way, you also need to know how NAV works. If you don't put, then it will throw you the error, but it's okay. You can test it out and you'll know what are the fields required. Right? So click next. So once successful, what you want to do, go to another page. So yes. And to where again? Customer list. Then done. So now you have finished submitting. We can try it later. But before that, we do the navigation. So click on the back. Okay, so we do function. So we're just mapping. I think we'll be doing this a lot, so get used to this one. Go to page, customer list, and finish. That's it. Why we do that? So that the app have a navigation. Let's say if they're stuck in the screen, then they cannot go back, right? So go customer list, click on this new, and the same thing applies. Oops, customer new. So we can just do a quick test just to make sure it's working. So do play. Let's just log in once again. Go customer list. There you go. You can see it's listing. All right. Then you can create new and just put testing. And when we submit, status submitted. And again, you can search for the data here. There you go, the testing that I just created. All right, so we can try it from our side and see if it's working. Maybe we just wait for a few minutes, I guess a minute. Anything, do let us know. Okay. Again, we'll be sending the recording. So if, let's say you were not able to follow, you can just look at the recording as well later. So next, let's move on. Now we have finished the new page of customer. So let's go to the new one, next one. So we have the order listing page. So here we will list down the order listing based on the wizard. we will do the navigation so that they can go to menu and back and forth. And then we also want to enable when they tap on the header, it should display the detail as well as the header, specific header. Let's do that now. So we click action. So page. So just click data listing. Next. So select any. So you'll notice it's mostly the same thing over and over again. It's just like knowing what is the flow of the app would help you to simplify doing the app as well. So click next. So again here, what do we want to list? Order entry. Okay, let's use order entry because order lists don't have the lines. Remember, we want when we tap, it should display the details. So select order entry. We don't want the filter. Then just show number, customer number, and name. Just put number, customer number, and customer name. Next, select this first template. Next, call it what? Order list. And finish. So here you'll see, again, open here, then just make sure save. All right, then maybe can you also rename this to order list. Okay, so now we have created the page itself. What's next? So we navigate. So let's just click on this back button and do the navigation again. Where? Home, right? Next, we want to create another menu here. Let's use this menu 3 and call it order list. So we click on this one and then again, do a mapping of the navigation. To where? To order listing. Okay, done. But before we even test that, let's go ahead with the next one. We want to select the specific order and display the details. So you just go to the order listing again, then click on this number. So can you scroll on the right-hand side? So notice a data list here. So please select that data list. So what is data list? It's basically the listing. So why we need to select is so that when you tap on it, the system knows that you're telling them, oh, you want to take the record as well and manipulate it. Okay. So after that, we do action. Again, we want to do a new page, right? So select a page function wizard. Click this. Then you'll see our record details here. You can just select. Okay, if you don't see record details, right, meaning you're selecting the wrong component. Usually this one only appears for data list. Next, let's just call it order details. And next, so we just display the same header info like earlier. Customer number and customer name. Then it will ask you, does this contain line? So yes, right? So I click yes. But here you need to know what is the line. So you just scroll down here. We have sales line here. You need to select that the correct field. If not, then there will be an error, right? Because it's not lines. Click next. So if we do that, you'll see it also pulled the line information. Right? So just put number and I guess quantity. So number and QTY, just to simplify. Next. Here we just the system just want to store it so that they can display. So just put anything. So I'll just put order lines. What is temporary table? It's a local table inside your application. Next. Select this this simple one with details because you want to display the details as well. So I select finish. And order detail is there. Okay. So by default, our wizard, right, usually is using the picture field of dynamics. But sometimes you don't want to use the picture field. Maybe they want to use a different name. How do you change that? You just click on this image, right? And then you click actions, then value. Then you can see it's taking picture by default. So you can just, in our current instance, it's called get picture. So you can just change to get picture. Then just save. So that the picture would also appear. Okay, so that's it. So this next we don't need. We can just delete. Then finally, what else do we need? So we already created the new page, right? So let's jump to the next one. So we're already creating this actually, right? We already did the listing, done. So what we need to do is just the navigation. So let's do the navigation as usual. Which page? The order list. Then click next and finish. So in the order list, same thing, no need, because there should be no next actually. So we can just delete this, right? Because you need to tap on the specific order header before it go to list. So now let's quickly just try, just to make sure it's working. So play from your side. So see from here, right? And do, you can click order list. And I can see all the orders. Then if I tap on one of the order, there we go. Then I'll see some details that we have selected and the number and the quantity. Okay, in this scenario, right, the image are not existing for these items. Okay. So now you can try from your side and see if it's working as well. Okay. Again, you can review the recording later if you're not able to follow. Let's go ahead to save time. So now we finish almost all the things. Now next is the location. So salesmen, right, when they're going around, maybe they're lost and they can just use the app itself to find where are they, right, instead of opening the Google map. But again, it's just a thing to show you that they can do this as well in the eMOBIQ. Okay, so these are again the step. We put the step here so you won't get lost, right? Generate the page first, then we modify a bit, and then we will set the current location using wizard and the navigation. That's all we need to do. So first we want to generate the page. So page function wizard, generate page. I think we just use the first one. Click next, just call it location. Finish. Okay, as I mentioned, we need to manipulate a bit. So here you can just change to my location, manipulate the cosmetic. So I can delete this because no point for next. And I also don't want this, so I can delete the whole data listing. Right? So finally, what you need to do is drag a Google map. So here you can see here, just drag it in, right? So here there are properties. You can set the default one when they open, meaning the location. You can put the zoom, let's try to 13 so that it will zoom in. You can change the value as is, and the user can also zoom out, zoom in, if you remember earlier. This is just like that when it opens, right? So you scroll down, you go to size. Here it's fixed to 200 pixels, but we want it to follow the screen. So this is a bit of like the responsiveness, right? So we want it to be full screen. So just change to 100%, telling like you want the whole 100% of the width and as well as height. Okay. And then position display open. So that's it. And then click save. So we're done with the design, basic design. And now look back, we already finished the first step. Now we want to put the icon in. So when they open the page, we want to put the icon in. So click on the page itself. Remember, click location, this one. And go function again. And obviously when the page load, we want it to appear. So load, on load, basic function. Then you can see get location here. Display and map a component, and this is the one we created. Just next. That's it. And you're done. Then finally, the navigation. So let's just do the navigation part. Okay, I think by this time you're already quite familiar with this. It's just mapping where to go and back and forth. So go home. Let's change this to location. And again, same thing. I want when they press here, it will go to the location page. Okay, let's quickly try. That's it. We have finished the location page. So let's just play quickly and then log in quickly. Location. There you go. It pointed me to our location, right? So I can click on that. And meaning it's working well. Okay, we're done with this page. So let's do the settings page. Okay, so what is the settings page? It's basically just for language, so that you can see that the platform itself can do different language. So the steps again are written here, you can review, but let's go through quickly so you understand. So first thing, we need to cater the page by generating the page from a wizard and modify the cosmetic. Next is we need to set the language in that combo box that you see there. Oh, sorry. Set language in the eMOBIQ platform itself, meaning mapping the value and so on. Next is the one I just mentioned, to list down all the available languages. And finally, to activate the language. And lastly, as always we do the navigation. Okay, so let's do it now. Action, page function wizard, generate page. And then let's use this form again, because this is like mostly really, in a way, like the simplest one that we can reuse. So call it settings. Okay. So after I do the settings here, so again, what we need, so we already did, so we just need to change the cosmetic. So here we can just change to settings. And we can remove this because no point to have this. We can rename this to languages. And just rename this combo box to CB languages. So it's easier to find when we do the wizard. That's it. So we're done. So next is we set some language in the eMOBIQ, right? So how do we do that? Again, as I mentioned earlier, we have hit here. So just go this place. Here we can just create a language. Maybe let's just put Chinese, but I won't put Chinese just to showcase it to you. Remember we have a back. Let's show you again. We translate this back to another language. So go settings. Oops, sorry, language settings. We just do a back. Then maybe when they change it to Chinese, it will say the k. So save. And then that's it. Meaning you already have record. So the more you have, you can just put the mapping yourself. So now we're done with set some languages in the eMOBIQ. Next is we want to do the function. So we want to list down all the available languages. How do we do that? Is when the page open, it should list down there. So what we need to do is select the setting page. We select action, go function, select load, because on load, what we want to do, basic function, language, set available languages in a combo box. That's what I want to do. So yes, there you go. So you see, this is the one we created. And then finish. So actually that's it. We're done with displaying it. Next is to change the current active language. So we go to submit and do the wizard again, function wizard. Click function, language, change the active language to which language, right? So remember, we created a component value. So let's select component value, then it just displays as the languages. So next, and that's it. Finish. Okay, so we're done with all the functions. Again, if you want to see how it works in the event flow, you can just go and open the event flow. So click on the back button again, and then a function. So go to page, home. So same thing, we map from the home. So we just put the settings here. So just select on the settings, then map again. Okay, map where? The settings. Then we can just finish it. Okay, so now we have finished this, the navigation. Let's just quickly try if it does work. So just play it and go in. Settings. So you can see English, Chinese. So if I click Chinese and then I submit, so you see it changed to Bako, which is the mapping that we did. If we change to Chinese, sorry, we already selected Chinese. Select English to return it back to normal, right? So if we change to Chinese, then we submit, then we return. Even if we go in again, it's still in Chinese mode. So you can just change back to English, right? So it's persistent, meaning you set the default language. Okay. So we're done with it. Okay. So supposedly this one is the extra functionality wherein we can do the item listing and the ordering of the sales order, creation of sales order. But because of time, we'll just go ahead so you know more how to use. Because now it's already like we only have like 15 minutes left, and I want to show you how we can do the more testing. So this one, if you want to know more, you can just like go for the training as I mentioned, or try it out yourself, and you can check with us if you have any issue. Okay, so let me just quickly run through so at least you know what you can do. Maybe you can do it on your free time. Here you can see you just need to create the item listing, and we put the guidance here, what you need to do. What are the steps you need to do? And finally, what is the data for the lines that you need to store? Next one is the cart, wherein it will list down all the placed order of the salesman, and then they can select which customer. And when they submit, it will create the order there, right? So, okay, so let's do the testing and building. So I think this is important for you to see so that it's not all like, like we all do, but in the end, we don't know how to test and how it really works, right? So let's just jump. Okay, in the sales order, the workflow, oops, we haven't changed the title, ignore that one. Anyway, so here, we can test it in 3 different ways. We have the emulator. We can scan the QR code and building the application itself so that you can install the app. So first thing is the emulator, which we already know how to test. Again, when we do this, we can just click play, right? Next is scanning QR code. Means here you can see, if we click this, it will help you to open the QR, wherein you can scan with your phone, and then you'll see how it looks like in your phone. The only thing is, some device capability is not available in this scanning mode because it's not installing the app in your mobile application. So let me just show you how it works. So I open my phone here so that you can see. Let me just, oops. Okay, anyways, you can see it there. So this is the phone. So here we have our scanner. You can just open any scanner, QR code scanner, and then just scan on that. Okay. It will ask you to open, so click OK. Just wait for it, then it will show you how it will look like in your phone. It's in a browser, but then at least you know how it looks like, right? So you can also test if you want. Right, so I can log in. Not now. So you can also see the customer listing if I see customer. Right, so you can test actually on the spot, right? And in your phone so that you know how it looks like in your phone. Right? So same thing for the settings. You can see already. You can change. If I submit, change, right? And it's really working as this. Okay, so that's another way to test when you just want to quickly see how it looks like in your phone. And obviously, finally, we want to install the app itself, meaning you have already completed, right? So the final way is to build the app. Okay, so one thing to take note is by default, Android can be built, but if you want to build iOS, you go global attributes. And then you need to key in all your iOS identifier, meaning the certificate, meaning you need to buy your own developer license for iOS so that the app is named under your company. Okay, if in the case that you really need just a testing one, you can get ours and we will share the provisioning for you. And yep, you can also enable if you again want to make it auto update. So let's return to page assign. So how do we build? You can actually just see here. So if you click on the build Android iOS, it will ask you whether you want a debug version, meaning you can debug it, meaning you can check what's the issue. Again, to know more how to do this, you'll need to go for the full training because we won't have time to really go in depth with this. Developer version means you're just, you want to test and it won't increase the version. Release version means, let's say currently it's 1.0, it will increase 1.1. And if you enable the auto update, the user who have installed the app would receive the notification as well to update their app. So that's it. So if we click, let's say developer version, it will actually ask you whether you want to include a web version. So we also actually allow you to download a web version, which you can run locally in your browser. But again, that's not our focus. It's just telling you that we are also able to do that. Our focus is mainly the mobile. So when you click continue, it will build. So obviously you need to wait. We won't be showing it here. You can do it on your own time. If you didn't set up the iOS, it will tell you that you cannot build iOS. Please, are you okay to proceed? Then I think just click OK so you can test. And then finally, once done, right, you can either publish it. So currently I already published this app. What does this do, right? It's basically in the eMOBIQ store, it will be seen by everyone. But if you don't want it to be shareable, meaning it's not public, you just want it internally, then don't publish. Then here you can just download the application itself, the APK and the IPA, right? So when you click, it will just download that file, then you can download that in your phone. Yep. So that's how we test the app. So basically that's all. So again, we already have tested the app when we do the emulator. So from the emulator, right, we have seen like how it works. Again, you can try it on your own. But basically, we have gone through everything here. So surely I tell you it's working, right? Because even if I press again, it will just go to my location and so on. And yeah, same thing applies, right? So now you know how to do different testing and how to deploy it as well. So that's it. So I'll pass it back to Shamel to...
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kevin. That was quite interesting. And for those who have actually been watching this, you can actually review this particular video and see how it goes. It's pretty straightforward if you understand the concepts. And once the concepts are clear, I think it's a cakewalk. Having said that, if you do need to actually try it out and use the eMOBIQ platform for trial runs, please drop me an email. I can send you the link for the free trial. And if you have any questions for Kevin, please do so. We will get back in touch with you. So thank you very much for joining us, and hope you had a wonderful session out here. Cheers.